Okay, here we are. Question and answers. If you are here about your work, or you can go on your please. Developed a cough in the last 30 minutes. How's everybody doing? Last week, I wasn't here last week, was I? I was in the hospital, right? On our kidney failure prevention diet over there. No, it's something I don't want. No fun. I drink too much, and I have to go to the bathroom. Do you have to limit the amount that you drink? So no, I'm talking about like alcohol, booze, my normal stuff. That's Everett doesn't limit. That's a country song. Alan Jack. I'm a country. My dad brought me up. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Meaning it's time to drink somewhere in the world, I guess. We are on how to study the Bible. And tonight we're going to be talking about what the way we interpret the Bible. Very important part of our study. So let's get started, unless we have announcements I need to share. Anything? Anybody? You got something? Okay, well, I'll pray for him. Thank you for bringing that up. Fiction for entertainment value. What other types of literature are there? Instruction like what?
Well, tell you how to build something or how to drive.
The Dummy's Guide to the Internet, right? How's that?
All right.
The Dummy's Guide to the Internet. All kinds of dummies guides out there, right? Those are dummies guides on how to do things. Instruction books, like Raymond said, on how to repair things, or how to function within, so how to repair a toilet, how to build a house, how to make your grass green. What else? Well, is that one of the ones where you would say, at the beginning of the movie, these are based on actual events? Controversial, what's it called? Truth? I haven't heard that one. Oh yeah. Well, there's that type of stuff, and there's the stuff that you would say this is a historical movie, but it also has to have parts of that aren't history. If you watch The Passion of the Christ, you watch through the movie, but at the same time, it takes liberties in order to fill in the gaps. Yeah. What else? Poetry. It's a type of literature. So whenever you're reading poetry, it's a certain type of literature, and you interpret it differently. So we've got all kinds of different types of literature out there, and we recognize that immediately, from poetry to biographies to just the phone book. I mean, it's You read through it, and you don't. It's nothing you want to pick up and read at night, and try to read through the entire phone book, unless you're, what's that guy on Rain Man? I guess he did that all the time and memorized the entire phone book. But it's a type of literature. We know the difference. There is the type of literature that is a promotional type of literature. Remember in the movie Elf? Everybody saw Elf? Right when you say the word elf, everybody has to laugh because it was so funny. The part that was so funny is the literature that was on the outside of the coffee shop, right? The world's best cup of coffee, He runs in there and he says, "Congratulations!" They're staring at him like, What are you, congratulations for what? You got the world's best coffee. And we understand when we read those types of things that we're not really supposed to take it literally. It's a promotional type thing. And even then, we don't really call them into question. We don't take them to court. If we put on the front of the Credo house, the world's best coffee, nobody would come up to us, I doubt, and say, "Listen, you guys are liars, you guys don't know, you guys haven't gone through tests, and this isn't fact." We understand how, in our own minds, through our own lives, to be able to see things differently and read things differently. It's the exact same way we have to do when we approach the Bible. The Bible is filled with many different types of literature that are meant to be interpreted according to the type of literature that they are. C.S. Lewis says, who wasn't really even a professional apologist, defender of the faith, or theologian. He was more into literature. He says, "There is a sense in which the Bible, since it is, after all, literature, cannot be properly read except as literature, and the different parts of it as the different sorts of literature they are." You may be surprised, and this is an odd thing in the development of history and the development of theology and the development of our understanding in church history. But you may be surprised that it hasn't been but the last 100 years, even the last 50 years, where people have really started to take the Bible as literature seriously and be able to kind of take and see what type of literature each book is and interpret it in that light. And that has become something that is more and more prominent these days, the Bible as literature. An illustration. In the Proverbs, this is a type of literature, a proverb. It's in the book of Proverbs. Anybody know what Proverbs are? Huh? Wisdom. And whenever we say they're in the Bible, what do we attach to that? They are what wisdom? Words of wisdom that are from God or inspired. Okay? But they're still proverbs. Just because they're inspired, in no sense does it make it not a proverb. A proverb, whenever you're defining a proverb as literature, is a general statement of wise truth that, I'm going to put this in parentheses, doesn't necessarily always apply in every circumstance. Okay? Just because it's in the Bible doesn't change the type of being a generally wise statement that does apply. It wouldn't be a proverb anymore. God says, take for example this statement where it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go from it." That is a wise statement. That is an inspired statement. That is a statement that is from God. God says, train up children in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. But since it's a proverb, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they do depart from it, that the Bible is not true, or that God has somehow lied or misspoken, and the Bible has been proven wrong. Why? Because it's a proverb, and we still interpret it as a proverb. These types of proverbs God did not invent, or at least, let's put it this way, the Bible did not invent. Proverbs have been around since the beginning of creation. There's always been wise statements of truth. Anybody think of proverbs that we have in our day that are not in the Bible?
Early to bed, early to rise, and healthy, wealthy, wise.
I have not heard that one, but early to bed.
Early to rise.
Early to rise. How early to bed?
I don't know.
Don't know.
You never heard that one?
I haven't. Is that Benjamin Franklin? Early to bed, early to rise makes
man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Okay. Well, what's the one about? That's a proverb. Hell hath your, what is it?
Fury, like a woman's storm.
Okay, good. You have one? What's it about? Gotcha. Okay. Sounds like penny saved is a penny earned. We could go on and on. Proverbs in the Bible, these are key that because they in the Bible that they always pan out the way that the Bible says. For I've seen people that have trained up their children in the way to go, and when they are older, they did his boys the way. True. We should train up children in the way they should go. To Latin, the common language, it became standardized, and that became kind of the inspired version. After that, in 1611, the King James Bible did kind of the same thing. It was translated into English from the Greek and the Hebrew, and then it became, people saw that as inspired. It was an interesting book because it's a mixture between a poetic type why a lot of people believe that the book of a true parable, but parable or just questioning. He's ready to do things at a moment's notice at any time. He's very full of self-confidence in the moment, whenever Jesus is talking to him, he's telling him, I'm going to go with you and die for you, you crazy. I would never betray you. But in the moment, things change, right? He denies Christ. In Acts chapter 1, maybe some people, so I'm not saying I'm not saying this is true, but let me just put this in your ear. A lot of people, a lot of good commentators, a lot of good theologians say that Peter acted rashly whenever he said that Judas has gone to his own place, therefore someone else must take his place. And they cast lots to see who would take his place. And you know what casting of lots is? It's kind of the way that they used to, it's kind of like, drawing straws. There you go. They all did rock, paper, scissors to see who would be the next apostle. Many people say Peter acted rashly. And the Matthias, who was chosen, was never really part of the 12 apostles. That he should have never been chosen. I'm not saying I agree with that. As a matter of fact, I disagree. Anybody want? Well, not so much because that was the result. I mean, I always question these casting of lots things. I think it's just an odd thing that they did back then. I'm going to cast lots with Jonah. Whenever they cast him off the boat, they cast lots in action. He had to stay there because Peter was still acting the same way. He was neglecting the Gentiles in favor of the Jews, or he was trying to make himself look good to the Jews and kind of push himself away from the Gentiles. So he didn't make wrong decisions even after appointed, if Acts chapter 1, the casting of lots, and Matthias was right. Maybe. I mean, does it necessarily mean he wasn't supposed to buy a car in the first place? Mean that. And put it in a different genre. Put it in a poetic genre. Recognized it. I think I'm on safe grounds as recognizing it as well. See what I'm saying? So it's difficult. It's difficult whenever you're listening to David and trying to figure out, is what he's saying good or is what he's saying wrong? And most of the time you have to look at it in the big context. What's the reward? Where are they at in their spiritual life? And what is right? It's the general movement of the narrative. Sometimes it's difficult, though, whenever we come to narrative, which is the majority of the Bible. Any questions or comments? Yes. One